So now let's start with the glomerular filtration rate. Firstly, what do you mean by this? It's abbreviated as GFR. So GFR refers to the volume of the glomerular filtrate formed in 1 minute by all the nephrons in both the kidneys. Okay, so the normal value is that in 1 minute all the nephrons of both the kidney form 125 milliliter of glomerular filtrate, and in 1 day it is 180 liter. In females it is 10% lower because of lower average muscle mass. Now let's see a mechanism of glomerular filtration. So this is the Bowman's capsule and this is the glomerular capillary membrane, endothelial cell in between its basement membrane, and these are the podocytes. We discussed this in the previous video, do refer it for that. So now it happens that fluid is coming here in the capillary, so it will exert some hydrostatic pressure. Hydrostatic pressure is the pressure of a fluid, so that pressure generated is 45 millimeter of mercury, and hydrostatic pressure tends to move the water out. Okay, and this fluid also has some proteins, and that protein will exert some colloidal osmotic pressure, and which is 25 millimeter of mercury, and this osmotic pressure tends to keep the water inside. On the other end, in the Bowman's capsule, there is a fluid which exerts hydrostatic pressure of 10 millimeter mercury, and the colloidal osmotic pressure is 0 because no protein is filtered from glomerulus to the Bowman's capsule. So therefore we will add hydrostatic pressure and subtract it from the colloidal pressure. So it will calculating this, what we will get, it's 45 in this direction and it's 10 plus 25, 35 in this direction. So net filtration pressure will be 10 millimeter of mercury in the direction of glomerulus to the Bowman's, means water will come or the fluid will come from glomerulus to the Bowman's capsule. So this is the net effective filtration pressure. So now what was seen, that GFR was directly proportional to effective filtration pressure. So make a equation, we had to put some constant, and the constant was Kf. Kf is the filtration coefficient of the glomerular membrane, and this Kf is GFR by effective filtration pressure, which will be 12.5 by 10 millimeter of mercury, which will be 125 milliliter per minute. And it will be, Kf will be 12.5 milliliter per minute. So now we also found out that this Kf is a function of surface area and membrane permeability. So we can say Kf is equal to product of surface area of the capillary and the membrane permeability. So therefore when we discuss that which of the factors affect the GFR, so first of all let's see it by this equation. Kf is surface area and permeability. The first factor affecting GFR will be surface area. Okay, and the surface area is increased and decreased by Lassie cell or the mesangial cell. Okay, then it is permeability, so increase in permeability will increase the GFR. Then it is effective filtration pressure. So there are various components of effective filtration pressure. First was hydrostatic pressure. So if there is high blood pressure in the body, so hydrostatic pressure will be high. So therefore this direction pressure will be high, so this net effective filtration pressure will be high, therefore GFR increases. Next is this colloidal osmotic pressure. So if there is hypoproteinemia, so if there is less protein in the body, then this pressure will decrease because the proteins are decreasing. So what's its direction? So its direction is opposite to the net pressure. So if it is decreasing, this net effective pressure will increase, thus GFR will increase. If there is dehydration in body, concentration of protein will increase, colloidal osmotic pressure will increase, net effective filtration pressure will decrease and GFR will decrease. Another pressure was hydrostatic pressure in the Bowman's capsule. So how this pressure can increase? If there is any obstruction in the kidney or the ureter, because ultimately all the nephrons will open into ureter. So if there is any stone in the if there is any renal stone, it will increase the hydrostatic pressure in the Bowman's capsule. So if this will increase, net pressure will decrease and GFR will decrease. So these were the factors affecting the GFR. Another factor which we hadn't discussed was that GFR decreased with the age due to decrease in the renal plasma flow, because GFR is 20% of the renal plasma flow. Next, as it is 20% of renal plasma flow, GFR changes linearly with the change in the renal plasma flow. Another thing which we need to do here is sialoprotein. So what is a sialoprotein? They are present in the walls of the glomerular membrane. They are negatively charged, and what they do, as they are negatively charged, they will repel the negatively charged content which will come in the glomerulus, and proteins are negatively charged, so proteins do not enter the glomerular filtrate. Okay, so these are some agents which cause contraction and relaxation of mesangial cell. Contraction will decrease the surface area, thus decrease the GFR. So the factors are angiotensin 2, etc., and they are relaxed by dopamine cyclic AMP. So see, how do we regulate GFR? First of all, why is it required to regulate GFR? If GFR is very high, so the substances will pass so quickly that most of the substances will not be reabsorbed, and GFR is too low, nearly all the filtrate will be reabsorbed. Okay, so how do we regulate GFR? As we know, GFR is Kf into net filtration pressure. So how can we regulate net filtration pressure? By adjusting the blood flow, and then we can alter the glomerular capillary ka surface area to change the Kf. And there are three mechanisms. First is renal autoregulation, which we did in the last video, then the neural regulation, and then the hormonal regulation. Hormonal regulation में we know angiotensin 2 was contracting the mesangial cell, so GFR will decrease, and ANP was relaxing the mesangial cell, so GFR will increase. So now another important topic is filtration pressure. Filtration pressure is the ratio of glomerular filtration rate to renal plasma flow, which is 20% of the renal plasma flow. So what is the significance? Increase in the filtration fraction will increase the protein concentration of the blood, which will lead to increased reabsorption in the PCT. So now let's see constriction. Firstly, constriction of afferent arteriole. So this is the afferent arteriole, this is the capillary, and this is the efferent arteriole. So if I constrict this, so what will happen? Less blood will come here, so renal plasma flow will decrease, and less blood will be filtered, so GFR will decrease. Another condition, if I constrict this efferent arteriole, so total renal plasma flow here will decrease, okay, but here in this space more blood is coming, so there will be more hydrostatic pressure, so GFR will increase. The another term which we need to know first is the filtered load. Filtered load is the amount of solute which is filtered in the glomerular membrane per unit time. So it is GFR multiplied by plasma concentration of the solute, and the excretion rate is amount of the substance that appear in the urine per unit time. This is urine flow rate multiplied by urine concentration of the substance. The next term is renal tubular transport maximum. This is the maximum amount of a given solute that can be transported per minute by the renal tubules. So why it is a maximum amount? Okay, so there is a limit because there are saturation of the transport system which transport that particular substance. So it is, the value is milligram per minute. So if we calculate the limit of reabsorption, it is called maximum tubular reabsorptive capacity, and if we calculate maximum secretion, it is called tubular secretory capacity. This is diagram of PCT cell. So there is one PCT cell and another PCT cell. We discussed in the last video that there are lateral intercellular spaces. Okay, this is the peritubular capillary. So why peritubular is used here? Because it is in cortex. So now this is the tubular lumen. This is the lumen. So the surface in contact with lumen is called the luminal membrane, and these surfaces are called basolateral surfaces. Okay, and they are connected with the tight junctions. So if the reabsorption occur between the cells, it is called paracellular transport. If it occur within the cell, it is called transcellular transport.